Hello and welcome back to this week's edition of The Bottom Bins. A little bit of housekeeping first, folks. Apologies for not having an episode out in the last couple of weeks. We have just been extremely busy, and we actually thought, with exams and stuff, we would just take a couple of weeks off the podcast just to kind of refresh and come back. So we're hoping that now we're back, we're refreshed, we're ready to go, and
Bottom Bins heads on.
Bottom Bins heads on, exactly, and we're ready to deliver our best content yet for you. So we're just going to jump straight into the match day, Premier League match day 32. Coming towards that business end of the season. It's getting really, really tight now. So I think best place to start, top of the league. Obviously, lads, we haven't been on in a couple of weeks, but Arsenal have really showed capitulation over the last few weeks. 3 draws in a row now. Very disappointing draw at home to Southampton, the team that's bottom of the league. Literally before we walked into the studio here, Oren, you pointed out, or Oren or Connor, I can't remember, one of you has pointed out now that this is 2 draws against the side who have been bottom of the league for the majority of the season. So largely you'd have to say extremely disappointing result for Arsenal.
100%. Like going to a team that, from the top of the table to the bottom of the table, realistically you should be expecting 3 points, especially at home at the Emirates where they have been in such good form. But look, it's just the same old problems creeping in for Arsenal in the last few weeks. They've really missed William Saliba. It shows how important he has been, and it kind of shows the critics, including me, who, look, I wasn't a huge fan of Saliba. I thought the hype was a bit much, but it's showing how much he's being missed in that Arsenal team, even if it was just for team morale or whatever, team spirit. He's definitely being missed. His quality's being missed when you see Rob Holding in there. It was an odd game. Southampton really did look the better team until Martin Odegaard took a shot. Martin Odegaard took a shot from the outside of the box and it was saved, parried away by Bazunu, and that got the Emirates pumping around the 80th minute. And it was then me and my dad were watching it and he was like, that's the first shot they've had, and that's the first shot they've had in the second half, but wait till you see what they do now. I says they're going to win it. Went and scored 2 goals, and then it looked like they were going to win it with Reece Nelson at the end, but Southampton held out. To be honest, if I was a Southampton fan, I would be fuming. You can't throw away 2 goals in stoppage time. You just can't do that, and it shows that's why they're in the position that they are, because they've done it all too much. They're not scoring goals when they need to. They're not defending when they need to, and you can't sit back off a team like Arsenal and let them have these shots from outside of the box. Whenever they've got the quality in the team that they have. So Southampton were the victims of their own downfall, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I thought Arsenal were going to lay down a marker, put Southampton to the sword, but they started so poorly. Obviously, Ramsdale makes the mistake in the first minute, and then that gets the crowd nervous, and then Walcott gets in behind Gabriel.
Great run, by the way.
It was a great run. But as you said, Saliba's definitely a big miss. They've conceded like 9 goals in their last 5 games without him. Holding isn't as good enough. They can't play the high line with him because he's too slow. You've even seen it there, like Gabriel has to sit deeper and then he gets caught out by Walcott in behind. But when I seen it was 2-1, I was like thinking, Arsenal, they'll get the result here, and then they concede a silly goal from a corner.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, it wasn't until Odegaard scored really, and then they got the belief back, and suddenly it looked like they should have won the game really. Trossard hits a crossbar to win it, and then they miss a chance at the end. But 3 draws in a row. The manner of the draws is really worrying. Like I'd been saying Arsenal's going to win the league. Now I'm really thinking it over, because to give up a 2-goal lead 2 games in a row, and then to draw with a team bottom of the league, who they've drawn with twice. I think it is going to cost them now. But for Southampton, they needed to win this game because they're still, I think they're like 5 points outside the relegation zone, so they're still in big trouble. But it's hard to know, with City coming up, Newcastle, Brighton, Chelsea. If Arsenal win the league, they're going to do it the hard way, because they've dropped points with a really, like West Ham, obviously didn't have a podcast last week, but that West Ham result was brutal too.
100%.
To be 2-0 up. It's just errors, they just make so many mistakes. I thought Partey's definitely dipped in form, just dipping in form at the wrong time, and an injury, as you said, Oren, for a while you've been saying about the injury, if they get a bad injury, which they have.
Well, that's what I want to talk about. We've spoke about it for weeks. We spoke about it before we came into the podcast here today. Like, this is the difference between a title-winning team and Arsenal at the minute, to be honest. And we've said it all season, do they have the squad depth? And they added Trossard, they added Jorginho in, and that Polish centre-back in January. But like, this groundwork should have been done in the summer, but then again, nobody was expecting Arsenal to be in the position that they are in. So I think from next season, you can really start to talk about Arsenal as proper title contenders. Like 100%, it'll go down to the wire. No matter what happens tonight against Manchester City, it'll go down to the wire. But it's the squad depth. It's the know-how. City they've been there, done that. They've been in this situation for years and years. But like, do you not think that the quality that City have in terms of, if De Bruyne gets injured, Bernardo Silva comes in, if Rodri gets injured, Gundogan or someone comes in, whereas Partey stops playing well, Jorginho, who's kind of past it, gets in. What do you think? Like,
yeah, it's difficult. I think it is difficult. Obviously, Arsenal can't compete on the same financial level as Manchester City. I mean, really nobody in the league can, other than maybe United. But I think, I'm not going to sit here and be too critical of Arsenal, tell you the truth. I don't like saying it as a United fan, but I actually have enjoyed watching them this season. They do play really, really good football, and I don't like saying I like watching City at the minute because I'm a United fan, but I do like watching City at the minute because they play really, really good football. So look, I'm not going to be too critical on them. I think at this point in the season, a lot of it comes down to, as you've already said, Connor, individual errors, and it is just know-how and experience, and I think a few of the guys are maybe just struggling a wee bit, maybe struggling to come to terms with the fact that the title was in their hands, and maybe they just became a little bit complacent, because I think some of the errors you're seeing, like you weren't seeing 10 match days ago, you weren't seeing 15 match days ago. Maybe it's fatigue, tiredness, I'm not quite sure, but just on the individual errors, look, De Gea gets a lot of stick for not being able to play with his feet, and Ramsdale's supposed to be one of the premier goalkeepers at playing with his feet, but what was that the other night? Like,
I know. I do question Ramsdale's shot stopping ability too, because he should have saved the shot.
Yeah.
Should have saved the one against West Ham. He was getting a lot of plaudits for the Liverpool game, but he does make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think he's been the best. People were saying he's the best goalkeeper in the Premier League. I disagree.
No,
with that.
I disagree too.
I do think he is a good passer. But I think his shot stopping ability is not that great.
Well, look, in all seriousness, I've Oren, I've never really been a big fan of Ramsdale. I don't get it. I don't get all the hype about him. I mean, he had 2 relegations in 2 years. I think that says more about him than anything else. I'm just not a big fan. So I think Arsenal could definitely strengthen in the goalkeeper position. I mean, you only have to look at who they sold. They got rid of Bernd Leno, who has arguably been a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. So sometimes you maybe do sit there and question some of the recruitment that Arsenal have. Largely they've got it right, but
Martinez a couple of years ago as well.
Yeah.
I think Martinez, getting rid of him, Martinez was a huge error.
Yeah.
Because he is good with his feet. He's better see Ramsdale as well, under the high ball. He's not as... He's an error in him, like even against United, he made the mistake.
Yeah.
So I think Martinez as a goalkeeper is a better goalkeeper all
And
around.
they got rid of Martinez to keep Leno, and then sold Leno.
I know,
next season.
I know.
It's a strange one.
Baffles the mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, from a Southampton point of view, I completely agree with you, Oren. I don't care what position you are in the Premier League. You can't blow 2-goal leads in stoppage time. It just shouldn't happen. But I think that's just been a consequence of where Southampton are at the minute. They're low on confidence. You can tell, like, the goals they scored, they were all counter-attacks, which you're going to have to do when you go to one of the big sides. You're going to have to sit deep, and you're going to have to hit them on the break. And look, the 3 goals that they scored, especially the Walcott goal, really well worked.
Yeah.
And I didn't think Walcott still had that kind of pace in him. No. But it was a very well worked counter-attack, and it is. I'd say for Southampton, it's just a real shame, because if they'd have taken 3 points at the Emirates, then maybe would have looked at that and gone, do you know what, we can maybe stay up here.
Your boy Alcaraz played well too.
He did.
Yeah, he's been really, really good.
He went off at half time. It must have been injury or something, because he was really getting at them. But see, the point I was going to make as well, just like the players that actually stood up for Arsenal were actually their young players. Like Saka and Martinelli stood up and performed. Odegaard obviously came into it too. I do think they're missing that experience. I think they're the youngest team in the league. They're missing that experience. They need somebody who's done it before. You can see with City, like they're just so confident. They know every game they're going to get the result. I seen Arteta was saying, like, he lets them watch the game, see the result. Like, I think they're too much in it. And even at the end, when they collapse to the ground, you're like, it's not a good sign.
No, definitely not. And look, I think just on Saka, Connor, it is a good point. Saka had really gone off the boil there, probably this last month. but he did. He stepped up in a big moment. It really showed leader. Like, I can't praise Saka enough, to be honest. You guys all know that. I love him. Like, but I think he really stood up in a moment and took leadership and took charge. And I think Arsenal will look at that game and go, points dropped.
Yeah,
Especially
100%.
after his penalty miss, to step up in that game when they were under pressure.
100%,
You know what I mean? Which is a big moment. But see Martinelli as well this last few months, he has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because he had dipped. He started well and then he dipped, but see now he's like been one of the best players in the Premier League.
Definitely. He is going to be exciting to watch over the next few years.
That's the thing about Arsenal, as you said. They do have the players. They just, I think they need just a few
just
more
need to add
signings.
more,
Maybe like an experienced centre back. Obviously a right back. Maybe you can attack a bit better. Midfielder. There's a few signings away from being a real
100%.
top team.
yeah.
Like,
Definitely.
even just talking about Martinelli and Saka, that's two of the best wingers in the world.
Oh, yeah.
On current
Definitely.
form.
Oh,
That
definitely.
is.
Like, I'm jealous watching them.
Oh, yeah.
100%, lad.
You know what we're watching compared to that, like
Yeah.
Sancho and Anthony, like watching them. They just go at players. They can finish. They've got everything. They're exciting. The pace.
Yep.
And they're
Good
so
link-up
young.
play, everything. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, it's
sky's the limit for this Arsenal
It
team,
is.
realistically.
Definitely.
I just think this season a Premier League title comes a bit too soon for them.
yeah.
No, look, I think that's fair enough. Well, look, lads, just going to move it on then to Liverpool and Nottingham Forest. Played out actually quite an exciting game, really, at Anfield. Liverpool managing to pick up the win 3-2. But, you know, I was on the car. I was in the car on the way to Cavan to watch Armagh, and, you know, we were following the games as they were coming in. And, you know, Husty, who listened to the podcast, big fan of the podcast, he was saying on the way up, he goes, it would be just like us to get a big win against Leeds and then blow it to Forest. And for a while, you know, when it went 1-1, he turned to me and he goes,
This is it.
we're going to blow it.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They managed to stick out. Look, I'm going to highlight one player in particular. He's been missing for a massive chunk of this season, but he came in against Forest and looked astonishing. Diogo Jota. Really impressive performance. Looked like a proper centre forwards performance.
First goal was brilliant.
Very, very good. Very, very good. The header, even the second goal, the way he sort of controls it on his chest, takes it on his knee, and then volleys.
Oh, sorry,
it.
that's the one I meant. Sorry.
He just a proper centre forward performance, to be honest.
As well, he hadn't scored in 20 Premier League games before the previous game when he scored 2, so it's 4 in 2 games. Before that, like, was it the season before? He was unbelievable. He was scoring goals flat out.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's been injured and stuff, but for Liverpool to get back to where they are, they need him in the team scoring goals because Núñez up top's not doing it. You know, so you know Salah as well scored again. I think you were saying, he's kind of underrated because he keeps scoring goals. I think he's 16, 17 Premier League goals this season. Like, that's still right up there. It's one of the top scorers.
Yeah.
So Liverpool dominated the game. Again, the thing about Liverpool this season is they give up a lot of chances because they just get walked through in midfield. They give up a few chances. Even at the end, Forest really should have equalised. They nearly equalised near the end. I think Johnson hit the crossbar. They didn't even start Johnson. They kind of rested him
Yeah.
for this game, which was a bit strange.
Johnson should have scored.
Yeah, he should have scored, hit the crossbar.
And he had an odd chance after that, believe
Yeah,
it.
so that is the thing about Liverpool. It's just, as you still said, there's no consistency. Like,
Yeah.
it's like every game. I know Leeds are not a good team either.
No,
You know,
no,
I've seen
no.
them a few times. So beating Forest, you'd expect them to be Forest second bottom of the league. I think they scored 2 goals away from home all season, or no, it was 4 goals. Sorry, and then they get 2 against
got 2
Liverpool,
against Liverpool,
which
yeah.
never would have happened in the past. When would Liverpool have struggled at home over the last few seasons against a team like Forest? Not a chance. They'd have beat them 8-9-0.
ridiculous, yeah.
It'd have been a killing. So although Liverpool won the game, Diaz is back as well. I've seen that, but I would still be worried if I was a Liverpool fan. I don't think they're going to get top 4.
No.
I think it's
So-
too far.
no.
out of
They might get top 6.
No. The other teams around Liverpool are just better.
Yeah,
United's better. Newcastle's better.
got a big lead as
Villa's better. Like
well. I'd even say Brighton are better.
Brighton are
Yeah, and
probably
Brighton have 2
better.
games in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, look, Liverpool will probably still get a European place of some description, whether it's Europa League or Conference League. They will get a European place.
I don't know, lad. I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, it's not out of the realms of possibility. It could happen, definitely. But just personally, I don't think it will. I think Aston Villa's in much better form. And like Brighton have 4 games on Villa and 2 games on Liverpool. Like, Brighton really are in with a shout of 5th, maybe 6th.
Yeah.
And that pushes Liverpool out straight away. It's just whether Spurs stay in there. Like, do you
No,
know what I
well,
mean?
I'm not even. Sorry, I'm not. Not counting Spurs in this conversation. To be honest, they're shite.
You kind of hope. You kind of hope Liverpool get Conference League. I hope they get Conference League.
And then they celebrate it like the Champions League.
Yeah.
I hope that happens.
Well, anyway, look, congratulations, Liverpool. Good result this week.
Yeah,
so
it was.
we'll not.
2 wins in a row. You got to give it to them. Like.
But
Yeah.
they need to keep that momentum going.
Well, I
They need
actually,
to keep going.
I do think a real debate needs to be had. Look, I know they spent 80 million on Darwin Núñez, but I think a real debate needs to be had that their best front three is probably Salah, Jota, Diaz.
Yeah.
No, it will. Yeah, definitely.
I don't think their best front three includes Núñez or Gakpo.
No, I agree. But then again, I do feel that every team needs to have at least 4, 5, 6 top class forwards in their team. That
Definitely.
if, like Liverpool have had, Jota gets injured, Diaz gets injured, look, they're not going to do the same job as them two fellas because they are elite forwards in my opinion, especially Luis Diaz. I think he's unbelievable. But I was about to say Joey Diaz.
Hey, cocksuckers.
It's Monday, cocksuckers. Yeah, but they need world-class forwards to come in and replace these fellas. They're not going to do the same job, but look, they'll do something for you.
Yeah.
And it really has been a makeshift forward line despite having the world-class abilities of Liverpool.
Definitely. Look, the likes of Gakpo and Núñez definitely do need that season to bed in, 100%. But I think next season is the one you really clamp down and judge them. I know I've been very, very critical of Darwin Núñez this year, but I just get defensive, lad. You know what I mean? Like when people have a go at Anthony, I think to myself, well, you fucking spent 80 million on Núñez too, and he's crap. So I just get my back up sometimes.
I understand the slander of Darwin Núñez, and I know I've actually defended him quite a lot in this podcast, and I'm going to defend him again. I do think he will come good, but he needs to start proving himself.
Yeah, big time.
He really needs to start proving himself, or Klopp will look at him and be like, what the fuck have we done? Like,
as we said, like he gets in the positions, he just doesn't finish.
Yeah.
So if he could start doing that,
And
then that
it's
is the
easier
hardest
said
bit.
than done.
Yeah,
It's easier
so-
said than done. And I'm not saying time's running out for him, but if he has another season like he had this season, next season, you could be looking at Darwin Núñez leaving Liverpool really, really early in his career.
Well, look, you would look at it this season, and by no stretch of the imagination, like he's had a mediocre season. He's not been brutal.
No, he scored goals. Like,
He scored goals. He's not been brutal, but he's
what's he got? 14 goals or something in all
think so.
competitions, or 15?
14 or 15. Yeah. So it's not been a horrible season by any account, but when. Look, it annoys me to say this because I don't think football should be looked at this way, but unfortunately it is the standard to which players are held, their price tag. I think when you spend 80 million on a player, like you look like Haaland, look, I said it earlier on this season, Haaland cost 10 million less, and look at that goal return. And I know that's freakish, and I do know that's freakish, but for 80 million, you're looking at a guy to lead your line, and we're sitting here saying that he's probably not in Liverpool's best front three.
Yeah. I don't think he starts. If everybody's fit, I don't think he starts.
No, neither do I.
Which is
neither do I.
unfortunate.
I'd agree with that.
Neither do I.
He hasn't been starting anyway, so
No, I know.
No. He comes off the bench, like. So. Well, look, we're moving on anyway. But congratulations, Liverpool. 2 good results in a row.
Yeah.
So I'll not be too much of a dickhead today. Gonna move it on to probably the biggest shock result of the weekend. Newcastle pummeling Spurs 6-1. Oshin has given me a little bit of stick at times this season. I remember when Liverpool beat United 7-0, I was saying things in the house like, it doesn't really bother me all that much because, we've just won a cup. And he was like, no, you can't say that. If you get fucking embarrassed like that by your rivals, you need to sit down and really look at your team and go, we're not that good. Well, Oshin, what are you saying now? Is your team that good?
Do you know what, though? Look, 6-1. I didn't expect it to be 6-1. But it genuinely wouldn't have shocked me if it was 4-0. Like, I was expecting Newcastle to blow them out of the water.
I wasn't.
I just don't understand why. Why though?
Because the thing I'll say about Spurs is, do you see when it comes to games against so I remember the season they were in that title race with Leicester. It wasn't the big games that let Spurs down. It was always the games again worse opposition. And they have sort of carried that same kind of momentum. I remember for seasons upon seasons upon seasons, every time they played Liverpool, they turned up. They really, really turned up. Anytime they played City, they turned up. They beat City at the Etihad 2 years in a row. So I just thought...
beat them this season as well.
I just thought, big game, they'll get G'd up. They'll want to go out there and put on a show and let people know that they're still in this top 4 race. So I was not expecting that to happen. We were sitting in, where was it was our group chat on the Sunday. I was watching the Down and Donegal match, and next thing it was just message upon message upon message, and every time I checked my phone there was another goal.
5 goals in 20 minutes.
It was ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Ridiculous. But look, I think a lot of criticism has to come on the coaching staff for this one.
100%.
Change the formation.
Spurs are not a back four playing team.
No.
Yeah, it's just not going to work.
Like, I can understand a new manager coming in and wanting to adapt to a back four,
yeah.
but when you're 5-6 games to go in the Premier League, why suddenly are you going to just go, okay, we're going to go to a back four now, 2 in midfield, 3 across the front, and then 1 up top? Spurs never played like that.
Yeah.
They played like Perisic and Porro
As fullbacks,
yeah.
and they're not good enough defensively
No.
to be fullbacks. Like Porro
In a
cannot
back
defend,
four, like.
and Perisic he's not a back, he's a winger. Like, so,
As a wing back, you can understand
Yeah,
it.
100%. In the back 5, you could understand that 100%, but
and
not good
Dyer
enough, like.
Dyer at the minute is not good enough to be like a centre back at Tottenham. Like, let's be honest, Lloris, brutal.
awful.
Like, a few of those goals were his fault. He could have saved them.
He
You
didn't
know,
even move. Like.
I know. This result, it was 6-1, but it feels like it was way worse than 6-1.
Yeah,
It was
it's 'cause it was
5-0
5 in
so
20
early,
minutes,
and they were just
yeah.
like, we don't even need to try
Yeah.
now. And then the manager came out after and he was like, once we changed it, it was basically 1-1, but that's not the way football works. You get paid 6-1.
I know.
He gets sacked because he was terrible.
Imagine
No
being an
experience.
interim manager and getting sacked.
But we kind of said about it.
interim manager
I
being
know.
sacked.
But
we
you know what?
We had said about it, he was too much like Conte.
Yeah.
And then he tries to change it. But I don't know why you change it against Newcastle away from home.
In such an important game.
It's such an important game. They took your boy Sar off pretty early. He's only like 20.
Yeah.
He just looked out of his depth.
Oh, he
Just
didn't know where to look.
He didn't know what he was doing.
No.
But that'll
No.
not do him any good.
No,
No.
I thought that was so bad.
Yeah.
You know?
So bad. Because look, you're
What's the
5-0
kid meant to
down
do?
anyway.
Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? He's been hung out to
Yeah.
dry. He's playing against Guimaraes and Joe Linton,
Yeah.
who are obviously going to overrun him.
Yeah.
They're 2 of the best and most physical midfielders in the league. They're known for their ability to run from minute 0
Yeah.
to minute 90. What did they expect was going to happen? And they throw him in beside Højbjerg. Look, I'm sorry, boys. Again, that is just another player. I don't understand it. I don't get what people see in him.
Aye.
He is, as a defensive midfielder, he is terrible. There is
yeah.
no defensive ability in that man whatsoever. Does he ever take a look and scan round him? No.
I think
was
it's
gonna-
difficult for that though, because don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say I rate him, because I do rate him. I don't think he's as bad as people think. I think he needs help. He's not alone. CDM.
But he wasn't alone, CDM.
I know, but that's what I mean. But Spurs are playing 5-2-3 usually,
Usually, yeah.
and I don't think Højbjerg is good enough to play in a 2. I think he needs to be playing in a 3 for him to be his best.
Well, I think in a double pivot, you're supposed to be like it's basically two men doing the job of one. That's why we play double pivots. It's why United did it for years. They didn't have a Casemiro.
Yeah.
They had to play McTominay and Fred.
Yeah.
Spurs are having to do it now too.
Yeah.
They don't have that out-and-out defensive midfielder. But the thing about the double pivot is both defensive-minded midfielders need to be in contact with one another and
that's
need to be
true.
in communication.
Almost like a telepathic thing.
Exactly. But I didn't see Højbjerg once tell that young fella, go
This is
there,
where he should be.
move there, shift across when I shift across. There was none of that.
Yeah.
If I push up, you need to come in, slot in behind. There was none of that. None of that. I just thought that young fella was left hung out to dry.
I agree.
Because I rate him. I do think that
I think he's good too.
I do
I
think
think
that
he'll
young
come
fella's
good.
a good footballer.
Yeah.
But like the manager again, obviously we didn't do the podcast last week, but the way like Sanchez got treated,
I know.
he got took off
And
after
then he
like
brought
30
him on
minutes,
after
brought him
20
on,
minutes.
brought him off,
Yeah.
and then he brought him on again.
Yeah.
Just a poor manager.
Yeah.
But the players need to stand up too. The only player that seems to stand up for them is Harry Kane.
Yeah.
He can keep scoring.
Yep.
There's just so many poor performances, and like they've conceded over 50 goals, which is just
It's not good.
brutal.
But Levy needs to be looked at too for that
Yeah.
result. Like, why did he think going into the end of the season in such an important time when they genuinely were still challenging for the top 4?
Yeah.
I think they were still in the top 4 when Conte left. Why did he think it was acceptable for a team like Tottenham Hotspur, a really, really prestigious team, to have an assistant coach as their interim manager until the end of the season?
Crazy.
It's like when we got fucking Rangnick. What was the point in that? But it just didn't make sense to me. If they were going to go in an interim coach from someone already in their staff, it should have been Ryan Mason, who's done it before, and has been there the longest, knows that team. But I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me whenever they could have they could have got somebody in until the end of the season. Do you know what I mean?
You see it with the teams that have got rid of their managers during the season, even like Leicester, they've got somebody in there because they know they need a new manager.
Yeah.
I think with Daniel Levy, it was just like, we don't really want to bring a new manager in now because we're going to bring somebody in the summer.
Yeah.
We'll just a quick fix, get us top 4. We'll have the players. It's just not going to work. And then you see some of his comments during the week about, he's having a go at Arsenal and all.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying,
we finished above
we
you.
finished above them, and
yeah.
you're just like, Arsenal won more trophies in that period than Tottenham won.
Yeah.
And you're thinking to yourself, it's a bit of a laugh. Like, they came second a few times. Is that really achieving much? But like Tottenham is just in a really bad way, and they're getting carried by Harry Kane. We've been saying it also. Where would they be without Harry Kane?
Look, and
Their defence is one of the worst in the league. Their goalkeeper is terrible. Players like Son and Kulusevski have not stood up. Richarlison's been a complete
flop.
flop.
He has,
Let's be honest.
realistically,
If he played for any other team, he'd probably get more stick. I know he's been injured a lot, but he's been really poor. But like Newcastle are on different
trajectory.
Yeah, they're going up. They've won 6 and 7. They won this game in the first 20 minutes. Like Jacob Murphy scoring 2 goals, like that's crazy. Like how has come in and just improved so many players.
Yeah.
Like you look at, Murphy, Willock, players like that. It's just crazy how, like if you spoke about Newcastle, Tottenham squads, you'd probably say, is there much real difference in quality?
Not really.
But it's the manager. Like it just shows if you get a good manager in. Since he's came in, he's just absolutely took them to a new level, and they're going to get top 4, and their home form is unbelievable. Like they went last week, they were brutal. He said it was the worst performance of the year, and to go from that to this it took some mask,
Big change.
You
Big
know?
change. I mean, Villa really did play them off the park last week,
Yeah.
but the one thing you'd have to say, the one thing they didn't do last week was when they did have the opportunities to put the ball in the net, they didn't do it. The difference the difference at the weekend was they put the ball in the net.
And that's experience.
Yeah.
Like it's Eddie Howe's first full season.
Yeah.
If they stick with Eddie Howe, which I think they will because he's a fucking great manager.
I don't see any reason why Newcastle would look
Well, they have
elsewhere.
to.
No, I agree. But I just mean if they stick with him, you never know what these owners will do.
No, that's
the only
true.
thing.
That's true. That's true.
If they stick with him,
I think Newcastle fans would riot.
Newcastle, really, the sky is the limit for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Like I know we were saying that about Arsenal, but Newcastle, young manager, young team,
Big financial back.
near enough unlimited funds to get whoever he wants. People are going to see Newcastle in the Champions League next season, like footballers, I mean, and they're going to be like, oh fuck, I want to play Champions League football.
Yeah.
I want to play for Newcastle, one of the most prestigious teams in English football.
If you're a young player around Europe, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, Alexander Isak's thriving there.
Yeah.
Bruno Guimaraes is thriving there. Joe Linton's thriving there.
Jacob
Sven
Murphy's
Botman.
fucking thriving there.
Joe Willock. Did you see that pass?
Oh, lad, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Even Fabian Schär.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Fabian Schär always had that long ball in his locker.
Yeah, he was always good, to be fair.
But to pull it off twice in the one game.
Yeah, lad.
The recruitment has been brilliant too. Maybe just only one's Gordon. He hasn't.
Did you see what Guimaraes said about Joe Willock? He's like, he got his hair done like Ronaldinho, so he decided to play like him.
It's true. It's crazy. And Isak, as we said, if he gets in the team, if he can stay fit, he's going to score goals, and he's been flying.
100%.
It just shows, it's a testament to the manager because they're not all of them are superstars. Like we even mentioned there, Joe Willock, Jacob Murphy, Sean Longstaff,
Even Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson.
To a
They're
certain
not-
extent.
Yeah, they're not world-renowned footballers that would get into any team.
No.
But they get into this team because they suit the manager's play style. They want to work for the manager. They want to play for the badge. And that's what you need at a football club.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you look at like I said, Dan Byrne. Like, who looked at Dan Byrne and thought he could play as a left back?
Yeah.
Only Eddie Howe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And look, and that's the thing. I think as a manager, you have to adapt. And the one thing I would say about Eddie Howe is his ability to adapt is probably better than most Premier League managers, to be honest.
And I would genuinely say, at this current point in time anyway, Eddie Howe has the best problem on his hands in terms of striker. I think Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson is one of the best striking options you can have in a football club.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's just about staying fit for them. boys.
Exactly.
Like if
Yeah.
they stay fit.
Exactly.
We said this
That's
for
their only
weeks. We
problems.
said if they can get them players back
Yeah.
and stay fit, they will definitely get top four.
Top
Yeah.
class. Top class. Both going to guarantee you at least double figure goals.
Genuinely, stick Madison in there. Oh my God.
It'd be brilliant.
They will kill teams.
Yeah, it'd be
They'll
brilliant.
probably get a new left back,
Yeah.
another midfielder,
Yeah.
and they're going to be a top.
Like Kieran
top team.
Tierney or someone
Yeah.
and an arm midfielder
Yeah.
coming in.
Yep.
They'll really punish teams next year.
Team to watch.
Yeah, big time.
And their home form is I think they've only lost once there this year.
Yeah,
Because
and their
it's a
support.
Poch
fortress.
got sent off.
Yeah.
Because Poch got sent, and the best of it was that game they were very good.
Yeah.
Their home support, even they came out after the game and said the support of the crowd is just unbelievable.
It genuinely is a 12th man, even in the Carabao Cup final. Like, they were 2-0 down in the 90th minute, and it was their fans that were singing.
They were still singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waving their flags and all.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Good to see.
Yeah,
Good to
Good to see. Good to see more teams, especially a big club like Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
Team fighting in the Championship a few years ago.
Yeah.
Always middling relegation to now being near enough a stalwart for the Champions League next season. Fabulous story.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Definitely. Well, look, moving it on then. Fulham managing to pick up their first win in I think 7 or 8 games. 2-1 win over who I'm calling are definitely going down, Leeds United. Again, it was a pretty 50-50 game. And I think one thing I will say about Fulham this season is when Mitrovic is not in the team, they don't look like they're going to score too many goals. Now, look, fair play to them. They did manage to come out on top in this game, but I think this is one they would have looked at and expected to take all 3 points. But look, boys, I'm just going to say it now. Leeds are an absolute shambles. Absolute shambles.
They're shocking. The goalkeeper especially. We'd been saying, like, what was it, like 10 or 11 shots on target in a row he conceded.
Yeah.
The 2 goals were his fault as well. Obviously Wilson scored. He's been playing well for Fulham, but for Leeds, like, at the back, they're just so bad. They concede so many goals. Like we were saying, like, players like Aileen and, you know, like McKinney, he's been brutal. He has been horrendous.
Yeah.
Even like last night, he was pretty crap. He's just not been good. Obviously, Adams is a big miss. You know, the boys like Rocco has not been good. Aronson, I do not rate him at all.
No, he's not
He's
really.
not good either. The boys like Cooper still playing centre back. Like, that's not good enough. If they could stay up somehow this season, they'd need to really
Invest
big time.
Yeah.
But as you said, they're really struggling, and yeah, it looks like they're going to go down. Like,
Yeah.
it does.
And I'm all here for it.
But for Fulham, like, it's a big result. Like, it is a good result because they're going for that top half finish.
Yeah.
Pereira scored again as well.
Yeah.
Like, they've had some really good performances this season. A lot went under the radar. I know Mitrovic is a big miss. Like, that could have been an excuse. I thought Willian played really well too.
Yeah.
He has been really good this season as well.
He has.
Tim Ream at the back's very good player. You know, for Fulham, it's been an unbelievable season. If they can get that 10th spot, like, that's, I think I've seen the table. They're kind of too far away from the top 8, but they'll get top 10 probably. And
If they could finish 10th even in their first season in the Premier League, they'll look at that and they'll go, right.
like, their goal would have been 17th.
Yeah,
So to
probably.
get
Yeah,
10th
100%.
is, I know they've dipped a bit, but still got some good players there.
Look, they still have 5 games to play.
Yep.
You know, if let's say they won 3, drew 1 and lost 1 in those last 5 games, you know, you're looking at
10.
Fulham and you're going, definitely a decent side. Definitely a decent side. And I think the one thing about Fulham is they've built a good foundation this season. So now when they go and add players in the summer, they'll only get stronger.
I think they done what Nottingham Forest should have done this season. Fulham built upon the players that got them to the Premier League. The likes of Robinson, the likes of Harrison Reid
And Ream
stuff.
and
Or
guys
Tim
like
Ream,
that.
sorry, not
Yeah.
Harrison Reid. Tim Ream, yeah.
No, well, Reid was.
Well, even him.
Yeah.
And Deckard over Reid and boys that were already there. They built upon the players that got them to where they are, whereas Forest went and bought fucking 30 players and thought that they could do it because they had experience in the Premier League and experience in other leagues, which, look, it could have worked. It doesn't look like it is going to work at the minute, but building the foundation, or building the team upon the foundation that you already had is phenomenal, especially for a manager who's been there for a few years. And testament to them when you bring in the players of quality such as Andres Pereira, such as Jay Polina, Leno. That's probably their most crucial signing this season.
Yeah,
when you
definitely.
That
genuinely
is
think
like
about it.
one of the signings of the
One of the
season.
signings of the
He cost
season.
like 8 million,
Yeah,
and he's a top keeper.
Yeah.
And he's kept them in a lot of games.
yeah.
I think
I've been
it's-
playing for Arsenal for years.
Yeah.
Won FA Cups with him.
He has the highest save percentage in the Premier League,
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
he's class.
for 8 million quid.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like,
Like,
fair play to them. They recruited.
Really well.
The recruitment team done a spectacular job there.
big time.
And it's not like even the likes of Willian. Whenever I seen the transfer to Willian to Fulham was concerned, I think or confirmed, I was like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Are they just playing career mode or whatever? But they're not signing these boys for mega money. Like, they're not even just signing them to sell them on in a couple of years. They're signing them like Jay Polina. Yeah, they signed him for 20 million. It's a steal, but he's 27, 28. he's not. He's in his prime now.
Yeah.
Like if they did keep him for another couple of years, that could be him. His resale value's gone. Do you know what I mean? But they've got the use out of him for the money he was worth. Andreas Pereira, nobody would have looked at him for 10 million quid. But now apparently he's being linked to PSG, Chelsea, all these places. They've done a really, really good job.
There's a good mix of experience on youth then, with the Leno and the Willian. They have the experience of the Premier League, and then they've got players like, even that guy Tete has been playing well, so fair play to Fulham. They're going to get a top half finish, so
definitely.
got to give it to them.
Definitely. Well, moving on from that game, going to move to Brentford and Aston Villa, who, notoriously the best of the rest as such.
Yep.
Really have been... Both sides, I think, it's fair to say, have really impressed this season. And I think I'm going to say Aston Villa more so because of just when Emery took over, they were 16th in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They are currently sitting 5th in the Premier League as of last night's fixtures.
Yeah.
But their rise this season has been nothing short of meteoric. The job that Emery has done there, I think, has gone so under the radar. Aston Villa are really scaring me for next season. I think they are only a couple of players away from being really serious. One of those sides, like, do you mind Wolves a couple of years ago when you went to Molyneux and you were like, oh, fuck,
Yeah.
we'll be lucky to come out of here with a point.
Yeah.
Fulham's gonna, or I keep saying Fulham.
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa are gonna be that side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to go to Villa Park and you're going to be like, oh, no, that's not a fixture I'm looking forward to. They are really good. And again, I think a player that has gone under the radar this season is Ollie Watkins. And I'm all here for talking about him.
It's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Look, last 2 games he hasn't been his best that we've seen in the last few weeks, but he's so crucial to that team.
Well, I don't even think he has to score, to be honest. When you just watch Villa play, especially when the sort of that first phase of transition where they move from midfield and pass the ball through lines, the positions and the spaces that he occupies are either good goal scoring positions for himself or allow others to sort of run in past him. It's
His
really
dummy runs are brilliant.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really strange, and this is gonna, if people don't watch basketball, they'll not have a clue what I'm talking about here. But there's a move in basketball, you'll know it, Connor, pick and roll, where basically a guy comes up, sets a screen to hold your man off, and then you come in round to the space, and then that's how you get your shot off. That's essentially what Watkins does really, really well. He just occupies spaces, drags defenders over towards him, and then that allows the likes of Buendia, Coutinho, whoever it might be.
Balling back in Birmingham.
Yeah, just to drift into those spaces. Their midfield balance is also really, really good. I know you love Douglas Luiz, Oren.
I think it's really, really good.
I think the performances in the past number of weeks have really, really...
World-class goalkeeper too.
As much as I don't like to say it because I hate him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him either.
He is world-class.
He's improved the backline as well.
Yeah.
Mings scored again last night.
Mings has
really
been
good
unreal
player.
these last
Konsa's
few
been
weeks.
good. That Moreno boy is very
Very
good.
good.
He's been
yeah.
a great signing.
He's very good going forward as
Yeah.
well. Defensively
Stalwart,
good as
77 overall left back in FIFA, but he has been
When they
unreal.
gave
He has
Yes,
been
yeah.
very good. And as you said, like even players like that by Ramsey, young player, he's improved. He's just improved so many players. And
It shows,
McGinn,
100%. But it shows how bad Gerrard was.
yeah, brutal.
Like, the first plan of action Gerrard took when he took over Aston Villa was stripping Mings of the captaincy and dropping him.
I know.
And now we're seeing Tyrone Mings play the best football he's been playing. And Gerrard done this when Mings was still a stalwart in the England team. And now, look, he's been dropped by the England team. Tyrone Mings will be playing for England again in the national teams in the next few years.
On current form, yeah.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
100%. It shows the difference between a media manager in Steven Gerrard, in my opinion.
Would you even call him?
I wouldn't even call him medium that.
Media.
Or media.
Oh,
I thought
media,
you meant
media.
media
manager.
manager.
Sorry,
Sorry.
media.
Media. A
Oh,
media
yeah,
manager.
built
that
up by the media.
Yeah, the
Oh,
media thinks
English,
he's unreal. He's the golden boy. He was one of the
Definitely.
best midfielders ever, and they thought that was going to transfer into management. He won a league with Rangers in the COVID season, and people thought he was the next big fucking thing.
Yep.
Tipping him for the Liverpool job. Took his first Premier League job at Aston Villa.
Brutal.
Fucked it.
Yeah. And he
Fucked
did,
it. And now they're talking about, Steven Gerrard's going to be the new manager of Poland.
Like even
Jesus Christ. Like,
players like McGinn had dropped so much. They had been so poor.
Yeah.
And he's just improved so much. And like they didn't actually play that well, but they still got a result. And away to Brentford, that's a good result.
100%.
They're unbeaten in like 11 games.
but it was always going to happen,
flying.
Connor. They had the squad.
I know.
Well, look
Like
at
we've spoke about it. The investment's always there for Villa, and now they've brought in a world-class manager who's a serial winner.
it does help that the sides around them have dropped points.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Like, don't get me wrong. I know
Chelsea,
Villa have been fantastic, but it has helped that the sides around them are dropping points like flies. It has allowed them to creep up the table. I think in any other season, teams will be consolidating their positions at this current moment in time, and they mightn't have climbed up as high as the table as what they have. But look, all credit to them. They've done the one thing that they couldn't do under Gerrard. They're winning games, and they're winning games convincingly. Now, look, I know this is a draw against Brentford, but to go to Brentford is always a difficult ask. And what you had there was two managers that are really overlooked in the Premier League. Their tactical prowess, their tactical know-how, their knowledge of football. It was two managers, a real gritty tactical battle. You could see that. That excites me because we now have the calibre of manager. We now have the calibre of manager in the Premier League from the team that's sitting in 11th to the team sitting at the top. There are 11 managers in this league. Well, when Chelsea do get a manager, there will be 11 managers in this league who are very competent, very good at their job. I'm sorry, when Spurs get a manager too. There will be managers in this league that are very competent, very good at their job. And it's like I said, it is like a competition to them. They all want to get one over on one another. If Thomas Frank had beaten Unai Emery the other day, he loved it.
Yeah. Oh, you can see, especially with the likes of Villa and Brentford, especially when they come up against quote quote the big teams such as United and stuff, they're setting it up for the exact players that they think's going to play. Like if they think Fred's going to play, they're going to tell their midfield to target Fred because he can't take a first touch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or play the ball first time. Sorry. So with managers tactically thinking rather than thinking, oh, this is my best 11, they think this is my best 11 to face
So and so, yeah.
and that's incredible.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed a great match.
But like that's what Emery said as well. When he first came in, he'd only said like 5 or 6 games previously there. He hadn't even got, like they were getting results and he hadn't even got the team the way he wanted it.
Yeah.
But like, as you said, imagine them next year when he gets even more players in than he wants. They could be scary.
Serious force.
Yeah.
Serious force. Well, look, moving it on from that game, we're going to go to Leicester and Wolves. Last gasp winner for Leicester. Timothy Castagna coming up with the winning goal.
Good finish.
Yeah,
Really good finish. And you know what? A really good game as well, actually. Both these sides, look, obviously, both these sides have been relegation threatened this year, but I have to say that was like a classic sort of Leicester versus Wolves game that we've become accustomed to seeing over the past few years. Both sides really let the shackles off and just went at it. And for Leicester, you know, who have been really low on confidence, and that's been very obvious to see even in the media. Connor, I remember you saying a couple of weeks ago, you know, Maddison sounding quite dejected and almost sounded like they were going down, but that's a massive win for Leicester.
As you were saying, it was more attacking. They played Tete, Iheanacho, Daka and Vardy. Like they went for this game. They didn't start very well, obviously conceding early, got the penalty. Deserved winners, very, very good performance. And even last night they got a good result drawn with Leeds. So, you know, that I couldn't believe it. Leicester hadn't won a game in 9. That was their first win in 9 games. You know, they'd just been in such a poor run of form. And that was like, that's 8 losses and 1 draw. It wasn't like as if there was a few draws in there, so they were terrible. But I had like slagged maybe their defence a bit, but a few of them stood up the other day. You know, Sionchu at the back was very good. He's come back in the team. He actually played very well. He got man of the match. With Leicester, as we've said, they've always had the talent there. Like they've had Maddison, Daka, you know, maybe they haven't been performing to the level that they should be, but they have the talent of boys like Harvey Barnes, you know, even Dewsbury Hall. So, like, as we said, if they got a manager in there that could just play to their style, they're going to get results. And I think Leicester will stay up now. Wolves, I think, are safe as well. They won last night again, so they basically had, I think, 35 points will keep you up. They keep setting this off 35 points over the last 10 years is the average or something. So they'll stay up. But for Leicester, that was a massive result at home because a few more wins and I think they'll be okay.
They'll be all right.
Do you think they will stay up? I can't see it. But
I do.
I think so.
I do, to be honest.
29 points they're on.
Because they're
only a point above relegation.
Since the new managers come in, their 3 performances against City, I know they didn't start well. In the second half, there was I thought a lot of positives. They played well against Wolves. Last night, they were the better team. I know they nearly conceded late on, but they were the better side. unlucky with the Tillman's screamer.
That's right.
I thought they were the better side, and
Yeah.
I think they're better than Leeds. And I think Southampton's down.
Southampton, Forest.
I think Forest are going to.
Leeds.
I think Forest have sent it well. I think they're terrible.
Yeah, I've sort of changed my opinion
I think
as
it'll
well.
be Leeds or Everton.
Yeah.
And I would worry about Everton because they have tough fixtures coming up.
Yeah.
Still have to play like teams like City and Newcastle, so it's going to
Yeah.
be tough for them. But I think Leicester play a lot of teams in around them as well. So I think if they can get the home form going, the new manager bounce is kind of helping them.
Yeah.
I think they're going to stay up.
First. It's interesting. Like it's just like Leeds are above Leicester at the minute, point above, same games. Everton, Forest, Southampton all have a game in hand on Leicester, and there's only a point between Everton and Leicester. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine Forest or Southampton winning their game in hand. I could see Everton
Well, Southampton play Bournemouth tonight. Or is Thursday night?
Thursday night. I think,
That's
yeah.
a massive
6
game.
pointer, lad.
Like if Southampton can win that. See, if Bournemouth win that, I think they're on, what are they on, 33?
Yeah, they'll be on
That's
36.
it. They're gone.
Yeah.
So if Southampton could win that, they keep in touch. I think Forest are definitely going to
If
go down.
Bournemouth win the night, they're 3 points behind Chelsea.
That's mental. See, they'd won 4 there. I seen they'd won 4 there.
So
last
Chelsea
6.
lose every game from now till the end of the season. Right?
No, I think they're still safe. How many points do they have? 39?
They're 11 points off relegation.
Yeah, they're not going to go down.
They're 11 off relegation.
Can you even see?
right,
Can
okay.
Leeds win 4 games? No chance. There's no way Leeds.
But
are
Leeds
winning
aren't in
4
the bottom 3, lad. Leeds are 16th. The bottom 3, Southampton, Forest, and
But there's like
Everton.
a point between them, though, isn't there? Or 2 points?
There's a point between Leeds and there's 2 points between Leeds
Well,
and
then Leeds
Everton.
need to win 3.
But like Southampton are in 24, Forest are in
Down.
27.
Down.
I think Southampton are, yeah, they're down and out. Like,
They have to beat Bournemouth.
I think it'll come down to the last game of the season, to be honest.
Imagine.
I genuinely think there'll be.
imagine there's like 7 of them in
I
that.
was about to say, I think there'll be about 7 teams that genuinely could go down. And I think it'll come down to the last game of the
Jesus,
season.
that'll be some
Last
final
day of the
day.
season.
That would be good to see.
Yeah, it'll
some
be
final
unbelievable.
day.
Unbelievable.
Well, moving on from that, West Ham managing to beat Bournemouth 4-0. Really impressive West Ham performance, to be honest. Went to, Bournemouth, who had been performing well. West Ham turned up and really put them to the sword. Looked like one of those sort of vintage West Ham performances that we'd maybe become accustomed to seeing over the past few years. I'm going to talk about the goal, Fornals with the scorpion kick. Didn't catch it as cleanly as he mightn't have liked, but here, it went in the back of the net. So
Sunday was mad. I was watching the Newcastle game, and score update came up. As much as Newcastle were scoring, West Ham were scoring.
yeah.
I was seeing 6-1, 11 goals in the 2 o'clock kickoffs on Sunday. Ridiculous.
I know.
Yeah, massive result for West Ham, and I think that kind of secures their safety as well.
Yeah.
Moyes talking about next season.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't be confident, David, to tell you the truth. Hope
No.
you're enjoying the pod, mate, but I wouldn't be confident of you being at West Ham next season.
Chance.
Nate the Great looks like he's going to be over at I was about to say Upton Park, over at the London Stadium. Yeah, no, big result, 4-0. They needed to go out and make a statement against someone that was right beside them in Bournemouth, and that's exactly what they did.
I was shocked by this result because, as we've been saying, Bournemouth have been playing so well. They won 4 in their last 6. They were flying up the league. I thought this would be a really tight game. But West Ham showed something last Sunday. Come back from 2-0 down against Arsenal. They showed fight. And then they won in
Good
midweek.
result in Europe, yeah.
Stuffed Ghent or whatever.
Aye.
And then 4-0 against West Ham. Paqueta's goal was good. Rice has been playing really well. He scored a few games in a row.
Yeah.
Played well against Arsenal. I thought after they went 2-0 down, he was very good against Arsenal. And I think this season he's been really poor, but in recent performances, if he stands up, but as Owen said, they're probably safe now. But for West Ham, like for Bournemouth, they do concede a lot of goals. I've seen 63 goals they conceded this season. But you'd say both sides are going to be safe. But Bournemouth would be disappointed because if they'd won this game,
They were.
that was basically it. I think Southampton, they'll beat Southampton on Thursday, but 4-0 is... I wasn't expecting that.
It is crazy, I think, how this season has swung in roundabouts, especially here on the podcast. Even if, like, to be fair, I have been listening back to some of our older episodes just to get a feel of some of the opinions that we've had during the season. And, this season in particular, it has swung in roundabouts. Not 4 weeks ago were we all sitting here saying Bournemouth's definitely down.
Oh yeah,
I
I've been
know,
saying it for
and
weeks.
every single one of us said that they were down.
Yeah.
And then in the mid-season, I can't even remember what it was called, our mid-season review, basically. You know, all of us had tipped Forest to go down as well. And then a couple of weeks after that, we were starting to change our opinion. You were the only one that didn't shift your opinion, to be fair, Connor. We all, up our Oran, we all had Arsenal winning the league, and now looking at it, you know, Arsenal and City play tonight, and you're looking at that and you're going, oh.
Whoever wins the title.
Yeah.
Title.
This season has been so strange.
Even the top four, I think.
Sure,
I went Spurs. Did you go Spurs?
I went Spurs too.
But then we didn't know. I think if Conte would have stayed, I think they would have had a chance.
Yeah.
But it's just.
And we'd all, not even joking that mid-season one, we had all completely written Newcastle off.
No, I said Newcastle was finished top 4.
Did you?
Yeah, I said they finished 4th.
Because they were going through that bad patch at that period.
No, I said they'd finish 4th. I always thought Newcastle would finish in top 4. But like we did debate it, and we were talking about like, Spurs probably have a better chance just based on experience and stuff. But I think we all kind of knew that Conte wasn't going to last until the end of the season. Coming out after the Champions League games and all, and just slating his players.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, look, lads, we'll just breeze through the last game. A very uneventful 0-0 between Crystal Palace and Everton. Eze had a goal disallowed due to VAR. Everton had a red card through Mason Holgate, but managed to hold on and rescue a point. I don't really know what much to say about this game. There wasn't a whole pile of attacking. It was both sides that were sort of scared and were like feeling each other out a wee bit. That like it just wasn't that great of a game.
When you're seeing one of the goals of the season, when Jordan Pickford absolutely whammed it up the field.
Yeah.
I think it was Iwobi played it through to Calvert-Lewin and he took an unbelievable touch. But put it wide. But yeah, there wasn't much to say. Both teams got a point. Look, I know Everton do need to be picking up 3 points, but look, at this stage of the season, any point will do. They're just probably glad, especially after getting the red card, that they didn't lose the game.
Yeah.
Because if they lost the game, we could maybe be talking about Everton near enough as the cert. Do you know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't be talking about like the likes of Leeds and stuff, but yeah, just an uneventful game, but a crucial point really for Everton.
Yeah, for Everton, like, to go away to Palace, who have been scoring goals, to get a clean sheet is an achievement. Calvert-Lewin's back, played okay.
Roy Hodgson's unbeaten.
No, they lost last night.
Oh, did
last
they?
Night,
Were they beat last night? Yeah.
But like, they'd scored 9 goals, I think, in their last 3.
Yeah.
So to keep a clean sheet was good, especially with 10 men in the last like 10-15 minutes. For Everton, it's going to be tough to stay up. Calvert-Lewin's back, which could be a huge plus. As you said, nothing really happened in the game.
No.
A really boring game. Palace looked a bit more like the way they did under Vieira.
Yeah.
Boring. So
compact, rigid.
But Everton obviously just went there and was like, right, well, this is the way most teams think, but they were like, we're just going to park the bus and hope to counter, and Calvert-Lewin gets a chance. He finish it. He got his chance and he missed.
It,
But they'll take a point.
Yeah, well, look, we're going to move on to our picks of the week now, folks. Obviously, we didn't get any out for you last week or the week before, so Connor, coming to you first. By the way, folks, you've probably picked it up at this stage. Owen isn't here, so we've no boob of the week this week. So we're just going to go player of the week, FPL, and OD's opinion. So Connor, who's your player of the week this week?
It's going to come from the Newcastle game because so many good performances. Obviously, Murphy, Joe Linton was class. Shaw, 2 assists, really good player. But I'm going to go Isak, 2 goals. Thought he was superb. He's been playing so well recently. You know, Yada could have been another one, but Isak just. As we've been saying for weeks, if he could stay fit, Newcastle will get top 4. And he stayed fit, and they're going to get top 4 because he's scoring goals. He scores big goals, and it's all round play. It's just, he can hold the ball up. He's really quick, rapid, in behind. Top player. And had to be a Newcastle player. They beat Tottenham 6-1. They were definitely the team of the week. So, yeah, Isak, player of the week.
No arguments.
I'm going a bit of a rogue shout.
For Richie's pick
this week. Bournemouth have a nice handy game against Leeds at the weekend at home. I'm going Philip Billing.
Nice.
As the fantasy pick of the week. I could see Billing
good.
terrorising Leeds, to be honest.
I thought you were going to go Isak as well.
Do you know what? I had sat there and I thought Isak, because I'm going to put Isak into my own team this weekend, but I was looking at that fixture and I thought,
just might as well go rogue.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? No point playing safe.
No. At this stage of the season, look, I've been pretty consistent this year, to be honest.
Time to be ballsy.
And any time I've gone ballsy, it's either really worked or it really hasn't.
But about 70% of the time,
I do normally
it
get
works
it
every
right.
time.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Like Sex Panther.
yeah, unreal that.
But yes, I'm going to go rogue. I'm going to go Philip Billing. I'm looking at that sort of game and the way that Leeds play and the way that they give up chances and concede goals. Philip Billing, Bournemouth's top goal scorer in the Premier League. I think he could get in the score sheet. And if he doesn't get in the score sheet, he's technical with the ball at his feet. Could get an assist. So I'm going Philip Billing.
I think that's a good
Good
shit.
pick.
I do think that's a good shit. I like that. I like that it's not someone that you've probably already got in your team or something. I like that. Odie's opinion. Look, I'm really negative in these opinions. But I'm going to be negative again. Like, I think if Chelsea do hire Mauricio Pochettino, they'll have him sacked before the end of next season. And I don't think it'll be anything to do with Mauricio Pochettino.
I think. See, I'd agree with that because I think Poch is going to be under severe pressure.
Yeah.
As we've been saying, he's going to come in. He's all these players. Who's he going to sell?
Yeah.
Who's he going to be told to get rid of? Is he going to be able to bring anybody in?
Exactly.
He's going to be under severe pressure.
I think whoever comes into Chelsea will not have control over their squad.
And I wonder, will the fans turn against him?
Oh,
pretty easily?
they will not take the
Because
Pochettino.
It looks to me
it's like the Rafa Benitez
lad.
Everton.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. They're not going to take them.
No,
if
lad.
he has a few bad results, they'll turn on him quickly and just be like, because they turn on Potter.
Yeah.
So they're definitely going to turn on Poch.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked he's going there, to be honest.
crazy.
I thought he was going to go back to Tottenham.
Yeah, so they.
But
I was surprised Nagelsmann rejected Chelsea. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Well, see,
that was another
apparently, all the rumours are, now this is if you read into the rumour mill, obviously, but the speculation is that there's a player committee at Spurs
oh, okay.
that is headed by the club captain.
Right.
And the player committee told Levy that they didn't
Don't want
want
Pochettino
Poch
back.
back. They want to go in a new direction. They want a new coach and a new style of football.
That's understandable. Like,
That is fair, yeah.
Fair enough, but at the same time, this is a manager who delivered you some of your recent successes, and I use the term success very loosely.
but you know what? It is success. They got that Champions League final.
Yes,
He definitely overachieved.
Oh,
They didn't
100%.
spend
Yeah.
for like 2 summers.
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
And look, he does have a good relationship with a lot of the guys already there. A lot of those guys did play their best football under Pochettino. I'm looking particularly at the likes of Dyer. Definitely played his best football under Pochettino. But I can kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Wanting to go in a different
I
direction.
understand it too. Yeah.
But-
I don't understand why Chelsea rejected Nagelsmann.
No.
They were saying he's 34 and he's never experienced the Premier League, and that was the reason. And I understand that, yeah. But he's one of the most sought after managers in Europe.
I don't understand it in the slightest. If you managed Bayern Munich and had a pretty fucking good record at Bayern Munich, does that not qualify you for the Chelsea job?
Yeah.
Chelsea need to look at where they are right now. They're not good. Mm-hmm. And are they trying to say that Nagelsmann wouldn't do something with that squad? They've got Nkunku coming in, who literally played under Nagelsmann.
Yeah.
yeah.
But beyond me. So is Nkunku not good enough for the Premier League then?
They have these players coming
Because
in
he's-
and they've still, I don't know how many players on their squad.
Well, he's 23 and hasn't got a minute's experience in the Premier League. So is he not good? Is that the logic that they're adopting?
So stupid.
It's such a
So
tough
stupid.
job going in there to Chelsea. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and the pressure and the past. It's crazy to me as well. And you're seeing with like even Tuchel how he's struggling at Bayern.
Yeah.
Like how good Nagelsmann was doing. And a lot of the players didn't want him to go. I just
Yeah.
don't understand that one either. But Tottenham could go for Nagelsmann.
That's why I think he'll end up at Spurs.
At Spurs,
which
yeah.
I think would be a better one. Like
And
than
I-
Poch, getting Poch back, I think that's a good.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
He could bring in some players. He's young.
He's young. He will want to stick around for a rebuild.
Yeah.
I agree. But I also think, like, I know my opinion is about Pochettino being sacked. I think if Nagelsmann came into Chelsea, my opinion would be Nagelsmann gets sacked. before
Yeah,
the
any
end of the
manager,
season.
it's gonna be tough.
Anybody comes into Chelsea.
Yeah.
is gonna
Look,
get sacked before
whoever the
end of
Chelsea
season.
manager is needs to come in and hit the ground running
Yeah.
from the start. And it's going to be difficult for them to do that next season. They have too many players in the same fucking position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't build a team of wingers.
No.
It's not possible.
I just think, in particular, Pochettino, having been at Spurs, having such a great relationship with Spurs fans.
Yeah.
Like, Spurs fans were calling for Pochettino to be back.
Yeah.
I know the
Yeah.
players might know.
It'll
but
hurt.
Spurs fans, oh my God, it'll hurt.
It'll
Definitely.
hurt. The first time they go to Stamford Bridge and they see Pochettino in the Chelsea suit,
Yeah.
it'll hurt.
And it will, as we've just said, it will take a lot for Chelsea fans to warm to Pochettino. He'll need to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
He'll probably need to win the Carabao Cup, to be 100% honest. First trophy you can win. He'll probably need to go out and at least get to the final or something not there to proper convince Chelsea fans,
Yeah.
oh, I'm here for this. So,
But that's a question.
big job for Mauricio Pochettino.
But that's a question about him as well. What has he really won? Even at PSG, he
Didn't win the league in the first
didn't win
year.
the league in the first year.
To be honest, and like I'm going to stick up for Pochettino here. To be honest, and I understand what you're saying, Connor. I do, and I know a lot of football fans would say that, but I personally don't like to judge managers on like trophy
Accolades.
wins, if you know what I mean. Like, to me, Pochettino is just a positive manager, a manager that will come in and play a positive style of football. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I know you need to win trophies. I do understand that, but like, look at how highly we regard Pochettino, and he hasn't won a trophy.
Yeah.
Or he hasn't won many trophies. You know what I mean? Like, I think that says more about the manager and his playing style. He is recognised as one of the top managers in the world, even if he isn't necessarily the trophy-winning manager. Yeah. And that's not to say that he doesn't get there.
No, I agree to an extent, because I think at Spurs you can almost excuse it because they haven't won a trophy in so long.
Yeah.
But at Paris Saint-Germain you need to be winning everything, realistically.
No, I was going to say that as well. I actually would agree with you. I think he done really well at Spurs. He didn't really get much of a transfer budget. He played great football. They overachieved. Yeah. But at Chelsea, they're going to expect to win trophies. Yeah. And if he's going to win the fans over, he has to win trophies. Yeah. Because a man that hasn't been doing it, he's going to be questioned straight away. Yeah. And if they get booted out of the Carabao Cup early or the FA Cup, so much pressure. They're not going to win the league. Not a chance.
No.
So the pressure's going to be on straight away. And they're just going, as you were saying, they'll probably sack him.
There's so much pressure on him before they even kick a ball. Yeah. Considering all the players they've got. What does he do with Lukaku? What does he do with the likes of Madueke, who hasn't really done it? Mudryk hasn't really done it. Fans aren't really liking him. Does he send them on loan? Does he sell them? What does he do? Like, he has so much to think about before accepting this job. Yeah. And then he's got players already coming in, like Nkunku, like this young fella from Zenit, I think it is, Zaharian or something. Dennis Zaharian. It's just...
It's crazy the amount of players they have.
They
have like 30 players.
It's mad. And he needs to sell, but... like, he will be given funds to make his own team as well. It's just a huge job. In my opinion of the week, he'd be sacked before the end of next season.
Well, the ownership model hasn't changed at Chelsea, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah, no.
Big, like, it's the exact same as Abramovich. Come in, big money to spend, spends a load of money, buys numerous players, but is also happy to pull the trigger on managers. I mean, the fact that Chelsea have had 3 managers this season tells you all you need to know about this ownership model, you know. And I'm sure Chelsea fans thought this time around it was going to be different, but no, that's much of a muchness really at Chelsea. And if I'm going to call it for what it is, it's a shit show, to be honest. They are a very poorly run football club. Yep. And you know, for years and years as a United fan, we cried that we were so badly run. But let me tell you something, as controversial as this might sound, I would rather be run by the Glazers than run by Bowley, to be honest.
Yeah, because Bowley's too involved, while the Glazers are more away from it. But Bowley's far too involved in that team. You know, he's like, you see him all, we're going to beat Madrid 3-0. Like, he's deluded. He doesn't even know football, let's be honest.
Yeah, sure, he was trying to play a 12-man system under Tuchel.
He is the real life Ted Lasso.
And then he came down, didn't he, in the changing room a few weeks ago. Like, he's got Lampard in because... like, there was rumours James Corden said it, but I don't know if that's true or not. But he's got a man in who's just an easy target. He can just probably go into the changing room anytime he wants and just say what he wants. You know, like, he needs an authoritative manager there. So maybe Poch will bring that, because...
I think Lampard shot himself in the foot by taking that job, hey. I know you can't not accept it, because it's Chelsea, it's your boyhood club, but I think much like Steven Gerrard, he's a media manager. And...
but I think it was like the last chance he was going to get at the Premier League.
Because if he had it done brilliant,
he's going to have to go down to the Championship now, and I don't think he's going to do it. So,
sort of.
Then Frank,
another managerial career probably down the toilet in all seriousness, you know. And that will do it for this week's episode of the Bottom Bins Pod. We are jumping over to the Bottom Bins Extra now. We're going to have 2 episodes out for you tonight. So if you are listening to this episode, please hop on over to our next episode, where we will be looking at the next sort of top 15 transfers in the Premier League over the summer. But as always, you can find us at Bottom Bins Pod on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. We're going to have much more content coming up over there in the next few weeks. You can find us on the Parlay Sports app, PRLY Sports, on the Apple App Store, where again, I promise we will have more content coming up. And as always, folks, keep it bottom bins.
Keep it bottom bins.